Well, uh, I don't know. Happy January 6th. It's a little late, but
Yeah, by the time this comes out, yeah.
oh yeah, yeah. I didn't really think about that. Oh yeah, because this will be at the end of the month. Holy shit,
Yeah.
that's so weird.
Yeah, it is.
The different
Yeah,
ones.
pretty I had a pretty uneventful January 6th.
Yeah.
It is weird that like I remember what I was doing. Like everyone says that about 9/11,
Mm-hmm.
and like I think for a lot of like
Well, this is like
NPR listeners, this is like their 9/11.
This is our 9/11. Yeah.
But I do remember like what I was doing because I was living in Kalamazoo and like I didn't have a job at the time, so I think I was just like making dinner downstairs, and I think I had like AirPods in, and I think I had Hassan's stream pulled up on my phone
Oh,
because like he was doing live like
I
reaction
might have watched
coverage
that.
of it,
Yeah.
and I think he had like 100K like viewers because it was like insane.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's all I remember. Just kind of listening to his commentary while I'm making salmon and Brussels sprouts. Like, huh,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah. I feel like I do remember, but just because it was like any other day a year before and after that, because I
Yeah,
was uh just at home because of COVID. So
yeah,
yeah, I was just home. And
yeah.
welcome back to There'll Be Duds, ladies and gents. uh this is episode 82, and I'm your co-host TJ, aka J Spot Jack Cheese, and with me as always.
As always, I'm Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch, and I have hate in my heart today.
I was gonna say, is this another a beef? You got beef with me again?
How is that? We got.
I was gonna say, speaking of just like being just like 9/11, we watched a movie this week, and not just because of what the movie's called. I guess I didn't really think about that. I meant the movie watching
Those
experience.
pussies. They didn't. They should have put 9/11 in this movie. It's like, it's like, whoa! Look up in the sky in that airplane. Is that Kim Jong Un and Chris Brown? What are they doing? And then it hits the twin tower. And then someone's like, "That's messed up."
Yeah.
Okay, and continue.
Oh no, but if it was if it was Chris Brown and Kim Jong Un, they would have been like, oh, they're gay because it's two guys.
See,
Yeah,
this is
just that's
funny. Why wasn't the movie funny? This is fun.
The movie
Yeah.
is a disaster movie from 2008, directed by Jason Friedberg and Aaron Seltzer. It ostensibly follows a guy named Will who is having relationship issues with his girlfriend. So he's like trying to win her back, and also he has like a premonition that the world is about to end, and then it like kind of is sort of, it's all very sudden and weird, and he has to save the world, and there's a parade of references. It's really just a framework to just shovel in as many topical for the time
Yeah.
movie references that all have aged poorly, but some have aged into obscurity to where I'm sure like there was a handful of times where I had to like
Be like, what is
say,
that referencing?
I think I got most of them, but I had to like,
Yeah.
because Kalia watched it with me, and I had
Oh
to be like,
God.
oh, I think this is that.
Yeah.
The one I wasn't sure of was if his friend, Calvin, if he would like, I felt like he was supposed to be a character because of like how he was dressed. He looked like kind of out of place, but he wasn't like as
he wasn't
like,
a reference.
Yeah.
I wonder, he looks like
He reminds me of Craig
this,
Robinson. That's what he made me think of it. And I was like, did Hot Tub Time Machine come out at this time?
I was gonna say the guy from Hot Tub Time Machine or The Office, and I was like, and it's not because I think all black people look the same. It's because
he's fat and black.
Yeah, all fat people look the same. Yes. I think he had a similar like hairstyle and like facial hair.
And I think that like I felt like the
sort of
like
the baggy shirt.
Yeah, and
like
the sweater, flannel sweater or whatever it is.
Yeah, I definitely think that's kind of what they were going for, was like that type of guy.
Yeah, it could have just been
like
a general
the wacky like wisecracking black sidekick. Like that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is one of the most soulless. Just so it's on Peacock. So I watched it on Peacock.
Okay.
And I watched it this morning, which is not how I wanted to start my morning. But literally the whole time I watched it like this. Like I don't think I laughed one time. I think the one time I came the closest to laughing, I don't know if it's gonna be the same thing.
Oh, maybe not.
It was like such a stupid thing. Where Batman was like, "I'm Batman," and she was like, "I'm Princess," and it was so stupid that it almost got me.
Hi. I'm Batman. I'm a ginger princess.
That was a close to like laugh,
a chuckle,
I guess.
Almost.
But no, part that kind of got me. Just because I was like, are they gonna actually do it? Because that's like really fucked up. It was when Anton Chigurh killed that kid.
Killed the guy.
I'm like, here's the, because we saw that one ahead of time that Anton Chigurh was gonna be in it, and then he's got the thing, and I was like, okay, yeah, but that's just there for the reference, right? And then he does like, and everything leading up to it was dumb. He's like, oh yeah, call it. Oh yeah, that's the scene. Oh yeah, it's like everything else. Like they're just doing the things that people know, but then like he actually kills the kid.
We can put his hands in one more thing. Or I have a better idea. Call it Tails. It is Tails.
So yeah, that's kind of funny.
The Wikipedia article for this movie is also very funny, like reading the plot.
Oh.
The guests include Junie, Dr. Phil, Will's best friend Calvin, and Anton Chigurh, among others. Just like the way that like all of the pop culture references are inserted, it just makes this movie look like a fever dream, which it kind of is.
Yeah.
Like I didn't take a shitload of notes because I feel like if I took note for everything that like I didn't like or found objectionable, I would have just run out of space. Started out strong with a poop joke, though. I was like, all right, how else are you going to start this?
Yeah. No, actually, see, this is one of those ones that may have aged into obscurity because it wasn't like a super popular, or I don't think it's not a movie that stayed as much as some of the other ones. But no, the first joke, the first reference is 10,001 BC, because there was a movie called 10,000 BC at the time.
Yeah, I remember. I never saw it, but I remember like it as a movie.
So you have from like the very first moments of the movie, you have an example of how stupid this movie is, because they literally do the SpongeBob and Patrick, hey, you know what's funnier than 25? 26. Because that's the joke. It's they added 1 to the number 10,000. And that's the joke. And then they do it again in the movie because they have Speed Racer show up in
the
later
5.5,
whose racing number is 5, and they do 5.5 because it's a parody.
What are those? Is it the Police Academy movies that do that, or Naked Gun. There's like the Naked
Oh
Gun like
yeah.
1.5 like outrageous edition
Right.
or
It's
something like
no,
that.
no, no. That's what they were called, like the theatrical releases. It's Naked Gun 2.5, and then 3 1/3. But at least there's like, yeah, those are dumb, but I don't put those on the same level as this because it's literally like it's a reference to something that we're adding a number to. It's I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not like that's like a
they're
brilliant joke, but
yeah, they're like making jokes about like sequel numbers.
yeah.
But it's like that. Yeah, I think Disaster Movie was like aping that, but obviously in a very dumb and stupid way.
Yeah.
There was one thing that I mean, I found all of this movie objectionable, but one thing that I'm glad that they sort of stopped doing early on, I was like, if they're gonna do these dumb parodies, but then also like include weird social commentary bits in there, like I'm going to hang myself.
What
Like
was
the
the social commentary?
I guess not as much social commentary, but like commentary on like those types of movies, or like the Miley Cyrus being crushed by the asteroid,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just basically being like, yeah, I'm actually Miley Cyrus and Hannah Montana, and I'm just using this to sell CDs and trick kids into liking like
Oh.
just overtly like, or like with Juno when she's like yeah, or I don't know if it's she says it or if someone else says it to her, but it's just like basically saying like, yeah, I speak in entirely outdated pop culture
Yeah.
references that no one understands, get it, like like taking pot shots at Juno and for writing a character that's like
For writing
now,
a character.
yeah, which now it is kind of cringe in that sort of like,
yeah.
I have to be careful because she's literally watching Gilmore Girls out there right now. But
Oh.
like in that sort of like Gilmore Girls, like speaking entirely like in pop culture references and witty banter that's unrealistic. It's like Disaster Movie. You're taking shots at like that writing style that was popular, and you're making
Yeah.
Disaster Movie right now. Like
Yeah.
glass houses. Don't throw
Yeah.
asteroids in glass houses.
Yeah, I actually made a note about that interaction. It's when she's talking to the Calvin Klein model guy at the
Okay.
party, and she just like keeps saying stuff, and he's like getting increasingly confused. And I was like, this is almost funny, but then they have to like bring attention to it. They can't just like let it lie. They have to address why she's talking like that, because he's in. Because I don't remember. It's just like some of his reactions. I was like, oh, that's kind of a funny way to poke at Juno, because like it would be really annoying to talk to somebody like that. But then he's got to be like, why are you talking like that? Oh, I talk in pop culture reference, blah 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 blah. And like,
yeah, we can't just make a joke. We have to overly explain it to the audience.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're stupid enough to go see Disaster Movie.
Yeah.
Do they need jokes explained to them?
Or like even like the references, because like there's at least, it might just be I mean, there's references, throughout this whole movie in like every scene, but there's a couple scenes in particular where and I think I use this term in the intro to the movie, but it's like they do like a parade of characters where they do it at the house party, and it's literally just like they're just standing around, the characters are just standing around, and then they're like, oh look, it's this person, and then it's like camera cuts over to a parody character, and they do something for they're like, oh, Anton Chigurh's here, da-da-da-da-da, and they do their thing. and then it cuts back to another main character, and they're like, oh, now Justin Timberlake's here, and then he does a thing, and like they just do that for like a few, and they do it like da 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 da, like back to back, and that's like the worst parts to me, I think, is where it's like it's literally just back to back, just look at this person, look at this person, look at this person. And it's not like saying that like any of the other parts are good, but like that is the part where I was like, they kept going, and I was just like sitting there just going like, Jesus Christ. Like
some of these scenes are really, really long too, like really drawn out for like a bad joke,
like the High School Musical thing.
Yeah, it just kept going, and I was like, oh, like the runtime is already like an hour 17. I thought I saw like hour 27, I was like, oh shit, this is a tight 90. No, the movie ended at like hour 17, and there's like 10 minutes of credits, which
Oh yeah,
is
you're right.
just
Yeah.
it just seems insane for like a movie this dumb and shitty. But I mean, it was. Did you watch? So did you look at the unrated version?
I don't know. Um,
I don't think there's. I don't think the only difference I think is that like instead of saying like and I'm dating so and so, I'm fucking so and so at the end. Like that's
oh
it.
yes, yeah. I
Okay,
did
because
watch
in
that because they swore.
okay, because in the Peacock version, it just said we're dating.
Oh okay.
So Peacock didn't have the Cataclysmic unrated edition,
Okay.
apparently. So I'm getting Amadeus jealousy over there.
I don't think it's the
Which,
same.
well, yeah. Which it is. Speaking of that, it's weird that this is like a PG-13 movie. I feel like, at least if it was like rated R, they could have at least shown like Carmen Electra's boobs or something.
Yeah, but they can sell more tickets if it's PG-13.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I was gonna say something about the party scene though. For some reason, it made me think of Thanksgiving with the Cranes, because that's
I
kind
was
of how
thinking
we
of
did.
that too.
did-
Yeah.
yeah.
The
Hey,
part
John's here to cut the turkey. And then
exactly.
it's,
Exactly.
You know, oh hey, so and so's here.
Yeah. That is kind of how Thanksgiving with the Cranes feels. At the very least, those are characters that we made, so
Yeah.
you know, there's a little something to it.
There's
But
real jokes. I don't know. There's real jokes there too.
yeah.
Man, what is Ike Barinholtz doing with his life?
I don't know, dude. I have like that guy has always annoyed me. I've like never fucking thought he was funny, and now he's like in he was in Suicide Squad, the 2016 one, and then like since then he's like been in stuff because people like really liked him in that, and so he's like had not like a huge resurgence, but like somewhat of one. Like he's been in more stuff, and I just like every time he shows up, it's just bad. He's annoying. He's just one of those guys that annoys me, and he's like plays the most characters in this movie.
Yeah. Because I kept seeing him, and I was like, why do I know this dude? And I think it might have been Suicide Squad, but honestly, it's probably Mad TV. I think that's I think where I know him from the most. And I can't remember any of the characters that he played in Mad TV.
Not really.
But just like his face, like it just seems familiar.
Yeah. Him and Juno and the Enchanted Princess, and she played some other stuff too. They're all like Mad TV alums. Which kind of makes sense because like the comedy kind of made me think of like bad SNL and Mad TV like skits. Because like I think a majority of SNL skits are, especially when they do like reference stuff like this, the only thing is that like a lot of times they do, at least SNL does like their own like original skits, but like when they do want to like reference stuff, it's almost just as bad as this. And I'm not being like hyperbolic. Like I think that SNL and Mad TV is like pretty fucking terrible most of the time.
Yeah. I have a soft spot in my heart for some Mad TV sketches.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's mostly because Will Sasso as Kenny Rogers is like doing Jackass. That shit's timeless to me.
Yeah.
And I mean like Stewart's a fun sketch.
Yeah,
I guess.
right.
Stewart's fun. I cannot remember anything else from Mad TV. Like
like original characters, like that's why I was making a little bit of a distinction. Like most of the time they're still not like that funny, but the original character stuff isn't like, it's not as bad as this kind of stuff. But
Mad TV was just like not afraid to be more racist about it.
Yeah.
Like Miss Swan.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn. Oh yes. Well, I don't really know if they're, because I was like, I had like a list going down of it was my I feel like there's like a better way to like phrase this, but it was like 2000s bad comedy bingo, and I had misogyny, sexism, homophobia, pedophilia, trans jokes, short people jokes. Was there racism? That'd be the one big one that they missed. If
I don't.
So.
You know what? Not that I can remember. There were a lot of like, dudes in dresses.
Yeah,
like
trans stuff and
which like they even say it near the end in the museum.
I didn't write down like a transgender joke when they did the Sex and the City thing, even though it was literally just Sarah Jessica Parker as a guy dressed as a woman. But then later on with the princess, she's like, "Didn't you know I'm a tranny?" And it's like, okay, I can check that one off.
Check it off, yeah. And I wonder if the Sarah Jessica Parker thing is just because of like that South Park episode.
Do they do something where she's a guy?
No, it's more like I think the whole joke is like she has a horse face.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think that's like the entire joke. So I guess maybe that is like a common thing. Be like, oh, Sarah Jessica Parker has mannish features sometimes. I guess she's a very angular jawline and nose. I guess so. I guess that's masculine.
I half wondered if that was it too, because I know she. I've
maybe racism, maybe, but it's also based on a character that I think is also probably racist, the Love Guru.
Oh,
it's a white dude doing
that's a
sort of like Indian accent.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I guess this one still is guilty of racism, but that is like it's tangential racism because they're just parodying the Love Guru. If the Love Guru was not racist, and they were just parodying the Love Guru, then it wouldn't be, but it is. So yeah, tangential.
I feel like the Amy Winehouse shit especially didn't hold up very well because she died like 2 years later of an overdose. So it's just like, haha, get it? She has addiction problems. Haha.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It says it parodied I Am Legend. What did it parody?
I
don't. Yeah.
What? I mean, they had Hancock.
I'm on the Wikipedia. It just says films and TV shows, and it says I Am Legend. But like, I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't know. They did Hancock, but that's the only thing I got.
Some of them were so lazy. Like, I mean, they were all lazy, obviously. But like the one part where he's just like, "Hold on, I gotta answer my Get smartphone," and he like pulls his shoe off to put it up to his head. And
I missed that line. Okay.
There's poo poo on the shoe. There's that extended scene where they're like, "Oh, is it here?" No. Oh no, it's over here.
That was one that went on for way too long.
Yeah, we get it. There's poo poo.
Man, I
understand.
Usually, I splice in like clips, like scenes from the movie. I don't think I want to with this.
Well, you don't want to watch them again.
I don't want to subject anybody to that to having to watch it. There's like nothing good or like funny about this. It's not even like, I don't know. I still will probably do it here and there, but like there's nothing significant. Even like our other like dud movies, there's been like reasons to insert clips, but I feel like there's just no reason. Like you hear us saying the things and it's what happens on the screen, and like you get the same experience out of hearing two guys sitting at microphones. It's the same experience that you would get if you watched the movie, because it's like about the same like production level and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, it is. Most of the references are from like 2008 movies, which is pretty wild. Like, like were they waiting? Like they're like finishing shooting, and then a movie comes out, and they're like, wait, shit, no. Like there's extensive rewrites and reshoots. so they can, factor in these other scenes from other movies.
Yeah. Which makes you think like how like what was the when did that just kind of like shows how like how short the writing and production time was, because they were doing like I just checked the release date and this was August of 2008. So it wasn't even like the end of the year, and they were doing Iron Man. Well, I mean, I guess you don't need to know the plot to know what they. You don't really need to know much of the plots about them, to be able to spoof them as far as they do in these movies. But yeah, like Indiana Jones was the same year, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull one, and
Which, the whole movie hinges on a crystal skull.
Yeah, that was weird. That they just picked one of their references and they're like, yeah, we're gonna make that the plot. Like they could have picked any of them. They could have been like, oh yeah, Will has to become the dragon warrior because Kung Fu Panda's in it or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that was horrifying. The Alvin and the Chipmunk sequence was particularly horrifying.
Kalia was laughing at that, but just because I think she thought the puppets looked funny. She said it was the only funny part. So
yeah, and of course, they hit it with an Alvin.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nice to see the Juno character die and not be in the rest of the movie, because I was getting pretty sick of Juno. I was getting pretty sick of it. Just like, we get it. We get it.
Yeah. And it was so weird that like they decided to like because like your initial group that you're following Will, and then you go to his party, and then the shit starts to hit the fan, and then kind of I guess the plot starts to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And he leaves with like his group of friends, and it's 3 original characters, like
3 real
normal people, and then Juno,
movie character.
For some fucking reason, like where they like, yes, we struck gold with Juno. We are carrying her through this movie. Like, yeah, like it's either like have 4 normal characters or have 4 movie characters. You know what I mean? Or maybe the main guy, like Will, could be an original character, but then everybody. It's just weird to have one. It's just so weird.
Well, I guess they have the enchanted princess too.
She like replaced. Oh no, she replaces Kim Kardashian, who like thankfully dies after not too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's more like natural for them to like if it had been, say it was Will, and Calvin and Kim Kardashian. Did they say her name in the movie? I don't know.
Lisa, I think her name was Lisa.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. So if it had been those 3, and then like later on they like met up with Juno and she joined them like they did with the Enchanted Princess, that wouldn't be as weird to me. Like if it was kind of like they were growing an ensemble of movie characters, that wouldn't be quite as strange.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I was about to make a point, because like I don't know if you've seen this sort of talk lately, but there was like an article about like nepo babies, right? Like nepotism in Hollywood. And it's just funny that like being a fail nepo baby, like, because all these other ones, they have careers, like they're usually pretty successful, like the girl from Stranger Things, Maya Hawke, Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke, their child, like there's there's these pretty established actors and actresses and musicians, whatever. But like, so Jason Friedberg, I think we looked this up when we initially pulled this. He's like the son of Rick Friedberg, who's like, I guess he's only done 2 feature films, Off the Wall and Spy Hard. So like, again,
that's right, yeah,
parody movies, but it's at least like, Leslie Nielsen is in Spy Hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's sort of like legitimate spoofs.
And Weird Al does the theme song.
Oh, does he?
It's like a and stuff, and yeah.
But it's just like, man, to be like that well connected to Hollywood, because like I was looking at this movie and they had like a world, like a real cinematographer or like a set designer or something like that.
That's surprising.
It's like, yeah, Oscar nominated production designer William Elliott, who has done production design on the duo films since Date movie, did the production design for the sets. So it's like they have these they're well connected. Like they have, connections to cinematographers and writers and production designers, and they still just put out massive piles of shit for all of their connections.
Did it say what movie that guy was Oscar nominated for? I'm just curious.
Let me look. Oh shit, where do you go? William Elliott. He doesn't have his name isn't blue on Wikipedia, so production designer. I wonder if he's done just like theater stuff. He's got William A. Elliott. Known for The Untouchables, The Nutty Professor.
That's probably it. That'd be my guess.
Did The Starving Games. Oh, he's what is it with him and doing these parodies?
Damn.
Starving Games, Vampires Suck, Disaster Movie, Meet the Spartans, Epic Movie, Date Movie.
Yeah, it's like
Scary
all
Movie
this stuff.
3.
I mean,
it's weird.
I think that happens a lot with like crew. If you get like, if you have crew that works well with a director,
yeah,
that just you stick with them because they're work buds.
Yeah,
So.
And it's a paycheck. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
I'm not shitting on this dude for being like, yeah, whatever. These guys want to pay me to make their dumbass movie. Like,
Yeah.
I'll do the set. I don't care. Whatever.
Yeah. There's the Hannah Montana part. We come back to that. I'm watching the scene and they're referencing she's like, oh, those like lewd photos of me that leaked online were not cool with me. Or she's like, I did not approve of that, but my lingerie line is coming out soon and da da da. And I was like, I know this because I know Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus is a day older than me, so I know how old she is.
Oh.
That's I was providing context with why I know how old she is. So I was like,
Yeah,
when this
you
movie...
were one of those guys with the countdown clock.
Yeah.
You're like, till Miley Cyrus turns 18. Yeah.
Yeah. So, knowing how old I was when this came out, I was like, she was 15 years old when this movie came out. And I was like, did these guys know that? And then immediately after that, she's like, oh, and don't forget to catch my underage concert tape. And I was like, oh, okay, they do know that she is not 18. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, because I remember when that happened at the time, because it was like took the internet by storm, because it was like
so that was a real thing.
Yes,
the photo.
I think it was like
photos.
I don't know if it was like pictures of her partying or like there's like pictures of her. I think it was literally just like bikini pics with her and friends in like a hot tub or something that. Which it's like, yeah, she's like a California Hollywood like 15-year-old girl like hanging
just
out
like
with her
normal
friends.
Stuff.
It's like not that unnatural to like
stuff that you see on
take pics with my friends, but like because she was like a super highly scrutinized person, and like
she had like a Disney show and stuff.
She had a Disney show, and I think Miley Cyrus was also just like super Jesus-y at the time. I think she had done like Christian music or something like that. Yeah. She was seen as like a wholesome like character to like because that was like the whole thing is like when all that stuff came out about like her more wild side, partying, drinking, taking sexy pics or whatever. people were like, "You're supposed to be a role model for children,"
Mm-hmm.
and then people got mad at her, and then her life kind of. I think she's gotten it more like on the straight and narrow now, or at least she's more open with who she is. But it was like the Disney child star pipeline
Right. Yeah.
is awful,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like I think she got out semi unscathed, but
Yeah.
there's still some stuff to deal with. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. I think. Yeah. Relative to some of the other ones. Yeah. She probably did all right.
maybe like Wrecking Ball was a bit of an overcorrection, because I feel like after like the Hannah Montana shit, she was like, actually, I smoke weed and I get naked. It's like, all right, yep, we get it.
Yeah. But
I don't want to talk about this movie anymore.
yeah,
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with moving on.
It was cool when Anton Chigurh killed a guy, but
Yeah.
that's
Oh.
about it.
Oh no, there was one thing that I did want to mention that I was about the ending.
Uh-huh.
Oh, actually two things, because did you? Because you mentioned how long the credits were. Do you know why the credits are so long? Did you watch into the?
I mean, did they do spoof credits?
They do like no, not really. They do.
I saw like the outtakes and like the
Yeah.
alternate cuts and alternate scenes. I did
Okay,
see
yeah.
those. Yes.
Yeah, that was it. So there was. I just wanted to see if you had watched those or not.
Yeah.
Because they're also
Reluctantly.
not funny. But that was like the most that I was like, kind of chuckling at the movie is the bloopers, because bloopers are just inherently funny.
Yeah.
Like when
The train.
Yeah, the train. That was
Yeah, the train one.
that was funny, but it's not anything that they wrote for the movie. It was just
Yeah, exactly.
a blooper. But no, the ending. So there's they go to the place where they got to put the crystal skull, which is going to end the world unless it's placed back at its altar at the Natural History Museum in New York City. Besides that,
Sure. Yeah.
Tony Cox, the Indiana Jones, is he like throws his whip at like a lamp, and then he goes to like swing because he's gonna like put it on the altar or whatever, or something like that. But then he gets like stuck up in the fan and then thrown out the window. I was like, when he's gone, Will like picks up his hat and he grabs the whip, and he whips the lamp too. And I was really hoping, I was like, man, if they want to actually like maybe do like a decent joke, or like the best way to end the movie, I really wanted him to, because his girlfriend's like, she's like, oh no, don't, it's or I think she's like, why don't you
why
just
are you
walk
whipping
over
that?
there?
It's only like 10 feet away.
Yeah. And what I really wanted to happen was he's like, no, I got this. I wanted him to swing, get caught up in the fan, and also get thrown out the window, and then the world just blows up. That would have been the way to end the movie.
Yeah. If they wanted to like actually, that would have been good.
Yeah.
They should have called him Shindiana Jones, because that's how tall he is.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
See, like they can't even do anything like that. Come on.
Yeah. Hire me, Jason and Aaron. I got ideas. I got some ideas. Yeah. Even in the bloopers, they had like another little person joke like in their bed. It was like, and I'm dating
that was in the
so
actual
and so.
movie.
Was it in the actual movie? Is that the end when they're doing like and I'm dating so and so and I'm dating so and so?
No, it's at the very beginning. They're like,
because it's Flavor Flav.
yeah, he comes out, and then she's like, and then when his girlfriend leaves after that, she's like, and I'm taking JoJo with me, and then it's like a little guy, and he's like, oh no, not JoJo. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which was that even a reference to anything, or was it just ha ha little person?
Was it what?
Was it a reference to anything specific, or was it just literally?
Oh,
Uh,
I think it was just a guy. I don't think it was
Okay.
a. I think the joke was just he's a little person.
Yeah.
So.
I like also that they reference like two commercials, which is like if you want something to age the worst, reference commercials from the time.
Yeah.
The what was it, like the head on, and like they get a dropped call, and it's like the AT&T network. I'm sure there's like a specific commercial that they're referencing, but it's like it's 2008. It's gone. No one remembers what that is. Maybe my parents do because they love commercials and ask me about them every time I see them.
Yeah, the AT&T one or yeah, whatever the fuck that was. That one I was like, like when it happened, I was like, oh yeah, I think I remember that, but
maybe if they had referenced ShamWow, like that, I feel like
yeah,
ShamWow is one of the few commercials that have any staying power, just because like that dude is insane.
I definitely remember Head On. I for sure remember that one, but it was still dumb and this so jarring. Like it was literally like, because it was after the Alvin and the Chipmunks bit, and he's like, oh, are you okay, babe? And then she's like, yes, I think I'm okay, but I do have a headache. Cut away to Head On reference for like a solid minute.
Yeah.
And then cut back and she's like, oh, my headache's gone. So it's like, oh, you could just pop that out and
yeah,
the movie would be a minute shorter. So, it'd be better. Yeah, it's just the like uber blatant just setups are like the worst. It's like, and that's why that, like I said, when they're like at the party, or the other part is like when they're on the street, and which I know is a lot, but there's like a part where they're on the street and they do the same thing. They're like, oh, look, it's Iron Man. Here's Iron Man. He does a thing for a little bit.
He gets smushed by a cow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. He's getting smushed by a cow. And then like, oh, no. Now there's Hellboy. He gets smushed by a cow. Oh, now there's Bruce Banner. It's just like the pointing out, like, there's this, there's this, there's this, there's this.
Yeah.
It's
almost like that, like Family Guy. Like, oh, that's almost as crazy as the time we went to Hellboy's house for New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
But it's like, at least then it's like a cutaway, and there's like a joke. This is literally, I'm here. Remember how I kind of sound like? Oh, anyway, time to die. And like, that's it. That's like the joke. It's like the first, up until like the Night at the Museum shit, the first like 45 minutes to an hour is like four of them running into a room, the four huddling around each other like, what are we gonna do? Uh-oh, here comes the Sex and the City ladies. They have their thing, they fight, and then they run, and then four of them, they huddle together in a room again. Oh, what are we gonna do now? Uh-oh, here comes Snoop Dogg. Like,
yeah. Fuck, what? Oh yeah, the cow thing too. That was that and the tornado. That was a reference to Twister.
Yeah.
Which was
they say it by name, like, oh, it's like that thing in Twister.
Yeah.
I think there is a line.
Well, I think that they might just say that it's a Twister or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
And which was so fucking weird because I'm looking at the list now and yeah,
they're all like, movies from the 2000s.
It's like 2006 to 2008, and then there's Twister from 96. It's so weird. Like why did they pick that one as like the outlier?
I almost thought it was like Monty Python, like when they catapult the cow.
Yeah. It wouldn't have been weird if there was other, if there was like a Independence Day reference or like a Die Hard reference, or like other older stuff, but like it was the only one, and it's just weird. It's so weird.
Yeah. So many bizarre decisions.
It's the Juno of the group of references, It's the They had to have one stand out. Apparently, there's a Matrix. Yeah, a lot of these references I didn't catch, so I don't know. Which is so weird because all the ones that I did get are just they're so obvious. Like,
Yeah.
if they don't like literally point out, like, hey, it's this person. Hey, it's this thing. It's like, it's so like zoned in and like focused on. Like they like cut away to show Hancock for like just a scene, and like that's it.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. You're
Yeah,
telling
it says it references the Matrix Revolutions, but I don't
Yeah.
I don't recall.
an inconvenient
Unless they're-
truth, or is that just because the world?
She says it
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe.
when it's at the party scene. Juno's talking to somebody, and she's like, "You know, home skillet. It may be an inconvenient truth, but it's
Oh,
actually
okay.
global warming." Like
Okay.
that's. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know where the Matrix Revolutions references, unless it's like when he's like bending the bullet. Is that a reference to something that? No?
That's Wanted.
Oh,
This is a movie with
okay.
Angelina Jolie and James McAvoy, and there's a scene where she like
Yeah.
stands in front of him and she's like telling him to curve the bullet, and
Okay.
that part was almost funny too. I wish that he had just shot her, cause like he like curves it around and it comes back and like hits her, and I think
Yeah.
it would have been funnier if it just didn't curve at all. If he just shot her in the head.
It's like, yeah, all right, okay, cool, and pop.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, I'm good now. I just
Yeah. All
um
right.
yeah. I mean, this movie is a it's a dud. It's a
Yeah.
catastrophe. It's a
Huge pile of shit.
yeah, it's a disaster, you could say.
Yep.
Very apt title, just maybe not in the way that they had intended. It's one of the worst ones we've watched, I think, for the show so far. It very well may be the worst, but man, I'm looking at the list and we've watched some really god awful pieces of shit movies. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, is it? But like, it's so hard to be like, yeah, but like calling any of these like better, even if it's better than like other piles of shit, it's like it doesn't feel right. They're all like at the bottom, you know.
I would put this below Bedeviled.
Yeah, I'd probably put it below Bedeviled. The ones that I'm looking at that I'm comparing it to are like Alone in the Dark, The Last Airbender. You know, I guess I would probably put it below Suicide Squad and Justice League. Even though fucking Ike Barinholtz is in Suicide Squad too.
Yeah.
Justice League is always that's the marker that I use. It's like, would I rather watch, because Justice League is 4 hours long, so it's like it's so much more demanding. It's like, would I rather watch Justice League over this? And most of the time I say like, no, I would rather watch the one that I just watched. This time I don't know. It's a toss up.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is I don't know. I can't even think of a good potato reference. It's just a spoiled, rotten, like moldy potato that you grab and it just dissolves into dust.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, because usually, you know, I try to give some benefit of the doubt with duds. I try to be like, well, the cinematography was competent. You know, I try to find the program was nice at your shitty play. I try to find some sort of like redeeming quality, but there really isn't any in this, like whatsoever. This is like one of the most joyless, just soulless movie-going experiences I've ever had. And it's just I hated it. There was no redeeming qualities whatsoever. this is just, yeah, it's like one of those like liquid potatoes. It's like so rotten that when you pick it up, it just like squishes out that
Spongy.
juice. Yeah. And I just want to put it in a like potato gun and shoot Ike Barinholtz in the face.
Yeah. And that,
And it's just,
but that juice is the juice from Space Jam, some
It's,
movie reference.
yeah.
I was looking at the list. There's no juicy. It's the juice is the cream of mushroom placenta, I guess, inside of Juno. Because
baby?
what the fuck was that? No, when she's like, I think my water broke, and then they like, it's this like goopy,
Oh.
like, it looks like cum, like that, like
Yeah.
sprays all over the two guys. I'm like, what is that supposed to be? I mean, I guess it's supposed to be, you know, the placenta or whatever. Yeah, placenta or whatever, the amniotic fluid or whatever the fuck. But like, I don't think it looks like that.
No.
I don't know.
No. It doesn't. None of this is real.
No. Well, speaking of cum shot, here's an ad break. Okay, but are we back though?
Yeah, I'm thinking we're back. Yeah. So last night we watched The Menu, which I only saw one trailer for it, and I think it was, I don't even remember what it was for. It was like a movie we saw in theaters, and like that's how I heard about it. And then 2 weeks went by, and then it was on HBO Max. And so we got home last night from we went to Chloe's family's sort of belated Christmas party, and we were like, well, we should watch a movie. And so we put on The Menu. We kind of were interested in it. It's directed by Mark Mylod, who has
that
directed a ton of episodes of Succession.
Oh, okay. Maybe
He's-
that's probably what I know.
He's done like he's done all like the season finales, but he's directed like 13 episodes of Succession.
Okay.
So I think that's kind of what he's known for. And there is one dude from Succession in it. I don't know his name. He's like the Asian dude from the first episode that like I think Kendall buys out his company or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I think him, and he shows up a few more times, but I don't know if he's in later seasons. But he was in it. So yeah, it's how much do you know about it first?
So I kind of, I know it's like a horror or like adjacent or something like that. It's like I didn't know much about it. I just heard a lot that like people were really liking it, and I'm like, hey, I really like Ralph Fiennes. I don't know, it looks interesting. But then like when it came on HBO, I was like trying to see if Kalia wanted to watch it, so I put on a trailer, and then I was like, oh, this is not what I was expecting at all. And then I was like, I kind of wish I didn't watch a trailer, because I would have rather been like surprised, because I thought it was just like a drama or like maybe like a dark comedy or something like that. But it looks like it's kind of like a mix of those genres with some horror or something like that, or like suspense maybe.
I would say it's very much like it leans more into like sort of the dark comedy aspect. It is. I feel like every movie is trying to be like a Knives Out type movie now. Like it's not necessarily like a whodunit or like a murder mystery type thing, but it's kind of like a dinner party setting, and like you're trying to figure out what's going on, and like if there's going to be a twist, what's the twist going to be, sort of thing. So it kind of has those elements to it. Without going too much into spoilers, I thought it was fun. It was a fun movie. It's I don't know. I don't think it's as deep as maybe some people think that it is, or maybe that the movie itself thinks that it is, because like there is a sort of element of like class to it. Like,
Yeah.
There's like reference to like the people who eat and the people who make, like sort of like service industry versus the customers. That sort of idea is played around with a little bit. And it's like, if you want to do like class analysis, it's like, well, Parasite came out a couple years ago, and I feel like that's like the most recently, like one of the better movies to sort of showcase that distinction.
Yeah.
And it's like, it does it with much more depth, I guess.
Yeah.
Not to say that this movie doesn't, it's not to say that this movie doesn't have depth, but I don't know. It's hard to say without spoiling it, but it is.
Okay.
I thought it was fun. The Ray Fiennes is great.
Yeah.
Ray's he's pretty great in it, I would say.
Cool.
Also, there's another dude in it that I was like, where have I seen him before? And he's like the roommate character from Broad City. Did you ever see that show?
Yeah, like, yeah. I mean, here and there.
I think in Broad City he speaks with like a thick accent. I think he's like he's an immigrant trying to attain his citizenship. So he's speaking in a very thick, I don't know if it's like South American or where he's from.
Yeah, okay.
But
I
in
looked
this
up the
movie, he's
cast list.
like,
That's the guy that I was thinking of. Yeah.
But it's like in this movie he speaks normal. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
They had him just put on a very heavy accent.
Yeah.
Which is like, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
It is whatever. But Anya Taylor-Joy's pretty fun. There is a part because like I don't know, I have some other friends in like a Discord, and one of the guys really likes Anya Taylor-Joy, and everyone else kind of makes fun of him because like she just kind of has weird facial features.
Yeah, she does.
And there's like one part in the movie where she just kind of says, "Oh, it looks like my eyes were bigger than my stomach," and I'm like, "You're telling me?"
Yeah.
I was like, come on, you made her say that line when she looks like that. It's not fair.
Yeah, I like her as an actress, but I'm
Yeah.
right there with you. Yeah, she does have a strange face.
This one of my old coworkers is like, yeah, when they feed her, they should just take a little like bottle of flakes and tap it above her aquarium. It looks like a fish.
Or like a praying mantis or something like that. I don't know.
But yeah, give it a shot. It's like a tight 90 pretty much.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah, it's like hour 47, so a little bit more of that, but
Sounds like an hour. That sounds like a tight 110 to me. Yeah, it's not the one I'm going to talk about, but another one that I watched this week, because you brought up Succession. Zola, Nicholas Braun is in it, and he's like the best part. Is
that the movie that's based on like a Twitter thread?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was all right. But he was good. He was easily the best part. He plays
is he the pimp?
No, he's the boyfriend.
Okay.
Of the girl that she's telling the story about or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So he like gets left at the hotel while they go like do their thing.
Yeah, they go like a cross country trip and it's insane or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was the movie itself was fine. There's a lot of stuff that annoyed me about it, but he was good. He plays like a dude who's trying to be like it's like Cousin Greg trying to act like somebody from Detroit or something like that.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say about the menu real quick.
Oh yeah.
I almost didn't recognize him, but one of the main dudes, I think his name is Nicholas something. Holt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he was in it.
I was like, why do I know this guy? He was in Warm Bodies as the zombie, and Mad Max, the bald guy that sprays his mouth.
Yeah. Did you see The Favorite? Have you seen that one? Because he's in that too.
We started The Favorite, and then I don't know something. I think we were watching I think it was the night of the Academy Awards. So we were watching the Academy Awards. We were kind of bored. We turned on The Favorite. We got maybe like 30 minutes into that, and then on Twitter we saw that Chris Rock had gotten slapped by Will Smith. So we stopped The Favorite and we turned the Academy Awards on and watched that, and we haven't gone back to The Favorite yet.
Oh, okay.
So we'll get there.
Yeah. And he's in that movie. Did you watch that trailer for Renfield?
Oh,
that I
Renfield? No, Chloe's obsessed with that.
Oh, really? He's the main character in that too. So
yeah.
I'm trying to catch up on my movies from the last few years because I haven't done my end of the year video thingies since my decade list. So I'm gonna be watching a lot more recent movies until I get caught up. And one of those that I watched is Zappa, the Frank Zappa documentary directed by Alex Winter. Bill from Bill and Ted. Who has he's done a few documentaries before. This is the first movie of
he did one on the Panama Papers.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is the Bill from Bill and Ted did this documentary about the Panama Papers and how, like, because that's like all about like rich people basically offshoring money. Mm-hmm. Which is so it's like, all right, hell yeah, I'm on board.
And then he did one on like crypto back in like
really?
2015 too, so kind of like early crypto days. And but I've been interested in that one, in his crypto, and I've heard about that one before. But he also did Smosh the movie, so there's that.
Like the YouTuber?
Yeah.
Oh.
But anyways, this one, it's cool. It's one. So it's one of those like I don't know if that's like an actual term, but I call them like archival documentary, where it's like, it seems like recently there's been a few of these where, somebody is just given access to just all this unused, unaired like footage of a person or like project or whatever. So there's Peter Jackson did Get Back, which was on like the recording of the Beatles' final album, which is kind of, a lot of that stuff had been under like lock and key for decades because they just, I don't know, they were sensitive about the material. But then they're just like, yeah, do it. So, and that was this. He got access to a lot of Frank's like just home recordings, or just like, just stuff that's like hasn't been seen. And but funnily enough, like compared to Get Back, where like I feel like I have just over the years I've consumed a lot more Beatles media, be it like, demo tracks or just like, behind the scenes stuff or whatever. And I felt like there was more new stuff in Get Back to me than there was in this, in a sense, even though I'm sure that like a lot of this I hadn't seen like the exact clips before. It's just a lot of it was like early on, because it's like, it's mostly like just a chronological history of Frank Zappa's like career. It's kind of like your stereotypical documentary. It starts with like, oh, this is him as a kid, here's his parents, and then how he started getting into music and blah blah blah. And that's, I mean, like a lot of that early stuff, I'm like, it just feels like I'm watching like Baby Snakes, like the in between the music stuff, where it's just like, oh, there's some people backstage and they're all fucking, they're high and they're doing weird shit, and like, it just, a lot of it just kind of felt like that. So it was like, it's still fun, and like, I still like the chaotic like energy of it all, but it just felt like stuff I'd seen before.
Did you read the book? Did I lend you the real Frank Zappa book?
Yeah, I read that a long time ago.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, my copy of that is like beat to shit. I've let people borrow that, and like, yeah, it's pretty rough, but I like that. It's like my my Bible. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like, I was just gonna say, like, I'm not like harping on the movie too much, because I think Frank Zappa's a very interesting fellow. I think he's very well spoken, so he's just one of those guys that's just interesting to hear rattle off about like any random topic. but the most that I was kind of like engaged with it was like the later stuff where basically where he was kind of like the mid to late 80s stuff, like post Valley Girl, where he's got involved with like
The PMRC and the hearings about censorship and record labeling.
Yeah, that, and then he also becomes like the cultural ambassador for Czechoslovakia, I think.
Oh, interesting.
So it shows him like going there, and he's talking about like how different that kind of celebrity is to being a rock star celebrity,
right?
And like that, yeah, like that stuff I didn't really know about. The PMRC stuff, yeah, I'd seen like those, but that's always fun to watch, you know.
Yeah. His interviews from Crossfire from like the 80s,
they show a couple of those, yeah.
So he decimates those guys. It's
yeah.
So good. Like he runs circles around them. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a very he used like rock and roll music more as like a function of getting paid to make the music that he actually wanted to make. Because like he's way more into like classical compositions. Like I'm sure the doc gets into it, but like his last album that I think he put out while he was alive, or maybe it came out posthumously, but it was recorded while he was still alive, was The Yellow Shark, which is like it's like orchestral interpretations of his songs. And like,
okay,
he was basically like I think it was like 3 nights, and he only made it to like one of the nights, but like when he was there, he got like a 20-minute standing ovation.
Yep, that's what I was thinking.
I think he conducted a few of the songs. And
he does the whole thing.
He conducted the whole thing?
At least as far as it's to... Because that's what... I was wondering if that's what that was. Because that's basically the final thing of the movie. Which was really... I was, like, super into that. It was... And, like... Yeah, you don't get that side of him that much. But it was, like... It starts and it's, like, this is, like, his final concert performance. Or his final live performance. But he's just conducting. He's not playing, obviously. And it's him on stage conducting like any other conductor, but it's like it's so interesting just to see this guy that you know as this other character, just like concert conductor. And then it's really cool and kind of like, you know, emotional.
Well, there's some like late in life interviews with him, probably like maybe a year before he died, where he's like full beard, like he sounds pretty damn sick. And there's like, I don't know if this is in the doc, but there's like a question that someone asks. He's like, how does Frank Zappa want to be remembered? And he's like, I don't care. Like, I don't care about that. And it's just, it's kind of rare to like, because usually he's a very like iconoclastic, sardonic, sarcastic guy who has kind of a answer for every sort of question. But like later in his life, you know, I think he was more sincere, because he had a pretty combative relationship with like the press and journalists and writers, because they all panned his work or like made fun of it, or like they Don't Eat the Yellow Snow was like his big hit, and he was thought of as like this novelty artist, despite having like such a huge body of work. So, you know, some of those interviews later in his life are pretty good, but also pretty hard to watch. Yeah,
and that's what that was like another bit that stood out to me, because that kind of, they show part of that interview. I mean, there might have been a couple, but there's one in particular where he has like a full beard, and he sounds like weak, and it is a very like candid interview, and then like there's a part where like, I don't know if they had to break or whatever, but he has to like, he gets like a transfusion, he gets like a blood transfusion like as part of it. And this may have been just like, I don't know if that was aired or they just had this because they have the archive stuff or what, but and you know, she asks him like, you know, how are you doing? And he's like, okay. And she's like, some good, some bad? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, more bad. And he's like, yeah.
Yep. I've seen there. Yeah, some of that interview is on YouTube because I've definitely seen that before, but did not see him getting the transfusion. Which is funny because there's an album of guitar solos that got released called Transfusion, like Trance. It's all like guitar solos and shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I could go on and on about Frank. Like,
yeah.
I know way too much about this guy. I mean, I remember seeing that documentary being announced. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But there's been some sort of ick with the Zappa family trust. I don't know if you knew about like the fight between Dweezil and Ahmet and like who has rights to what and like that kind of shit. There was like a big legal battle that was going to happen. I think they've since made amends, but for a while, like Dweezil couldn't tour. They wanted to like Dweezil couldn't tour using the Zappa name because it's like it's my last name, but it's trademarked, you know.
Right. Yeah. I don't know like the specifics, but I know there's a lot of like personal strife or personal beef with the family.
Was Joe Travers in it at all? Do you know what I'm talking about? He's kind of a balding dude, black hair, Vaultmeister.
I'm not sure. They had a lot of the dudes like Steve Vai, Ruth Underwood.
I saw on the list Ray White was in it.
Yeah, Ray White. Adrian Belew was in it too.
Oh, Adrian Belew. Yeah. Ray White played at State Grounds Coffee House with Ed Englerth.
Really?
In like 2007 or 8.
Wow.
I think he lived in Michigan for a while. And I think him and Ed played like Summerfest or something like that. But there was a show where Ed and Ray White played guitar together at State Grounds for like 2.5 hours. And like I got a guitar pick from him. I got like he was giving guitar lessons, and I have a business card that's like Ray White, guitar player, songwriter, whatever. And there was a typo on it. It said part of Fran Zappa's band.
Oh, man.
But, you know, my dad brought some records down and he signed them, and like he was really cool and he hung out. And then 2 years later, he got drafted into Dweezil's band and was like playing in Australia and Europe. I was like, that's the guy that was at, you know, the Hastings Coffee House.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
That's cool. Yeah, now that I think about it, like none of the kids are in it. Gail is in it, but none of the kids are.
Oh, that's weird.
And I wonder if that's...
Because Gail died in 2015.
What did she... Oh, you know, maybe... Okay, I didn't know that. But I had wondered if some of the interviews were...
Like archival, like older.
Yeah, not... Because definitely some of them were, because some of them looked older, but... Okay. Okay, then yeah, I guess that was probably another one of them. Some of them definitely were, like Ruth and... maybe it was... the other dude. Ruth and somebody else are definitely new because there's they're kind of commenting directly on things that are happening. Like Ruth talks about like how she was there at that final concert and like she like gave Frank a note or like a letter like saying like how much she like or how much he like means to her and how much he's like done for the world or whatever. It's pretty it's pretty. That part like almost made me like tear up because she starts like crying. She says that he like never really expressed gratitude that much, but he like gave her a hug there, and that was like a big moment, I guess. And that was like one of her like last memories of him. And then there's a part where her and another guy, I can't remember who it is, play. Maybe it's they do like a piano duet on, maybe it's Peaches and Regalia, but I could be totally wrong. And then after they finish it, you can hear, it's the only time you are aware of Alex Winter's like presence, but you hear him in the back and he's like, you guys fucking killed that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
With Ruth, that was like a big deal because I think Frank figured out how to mic a marimba. Like he figured out a way to like mic it, so because like marimbas are a huge part of like his music, like especially like the Roxy era performances,
or like Peaches and Regalia.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, because you're talking about like a lot of the Zappa stuff you feel like you've already seen or knew about. Musically, they are still putting out like a shitload. Like there have been several albums over the last couple years that are like, well, they put out the full Roxy, which is like 7 discs, the full unedited, unoverdubbed, like you hear what they hear material, and then they put out, I think it's like something eerie, like a bunch of live shit basically, but they're all like 7 or 8 discs, like 3 nights worth of music, because he has that shit. He has it archived in his basement, like it's which like Lady Gaga lives there now. Did you know that?
At his house,
where the Utility Muffin Research Kitchen in California, there was like it was really weird timing, but like I got a YouTube recommendation from like this guy who I think he visits like famous grave sites. That's like his kind of deal.
Oh, okay.
And he visits because like Frank is allegedly buried in an unmarked grave. Like he doesn't have a headstone or anything. Again, he didn't care about being remembered. Right. But he goes to like the house that Frank and Gail lived at, and I think it's off Mulholland. It's not, but it's like kind of in that windy area. And because I remember seeing the Zappa house going up for sale a few years ago. I think after Gail died, I think they just kind of sold it. But I think the studio still functions, and I think Lady Gaga uses it. But apparently, she bought his old house.
Damn, that's kind of cool. Yeah, there's a part fairly early on where because I knew that they had been like, you know, like I feel like there's like multiple new releases like every year of his music, and like every time I'm like okay, there can't be like, and I know some of it is, it's just like, you know, like live recordings or just like remasters. Sometimes it's just that, like remasters of old albums or something like that. But then, there's like a part fairly early on where he's just like, he does like kind of a little mini tour of his archive, and you're like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, no.
It's
really,
crazy.
He really does have all that stuff. Like, it's
like
nuts.
TV performances, like TV appearances.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty, because like people always, when they talk about like live taping, they always mention like the Grateful Dead. Like, there's a huge archive of like the Grateful Dead recordings and bootlegs, but I think the only other artist that could like rival them would be Frank.
Yeah.
Like, and also speaking, it's funny that you mentioned Get Back, like the Beatles and Frank, because Frank very famously parodied them with We're Only in It for the Money. And also there's a little bit of I don't know what the word is, but there's a little bit. It's contentious who released the first double album, because I think people for a long time thought it was the Beatles. With what year did the White Album come out? Do you know?
68, I think. It could be 67, but
okay, because Freak Out, the Mother's first album, is a double album, and I think that's the first double album that ever came out. But I think people assume it was like the Beatles.
White Album is November 22nd, 1968. Freak Out. Oh, I mean, this says that, at least Google just says that Freak Out was 2 years before. So, I mean, if that's true, it seems pretty cut and dry to me.
But anyway.
Yeah, they touch on that Beatles spoof thing, and it sounds like he's had like, you know, not.
He didn't have beef with the Beatles. He had beef with like hippie culture.
Yeah,
that's kind of what, because I think he thought it was like inauthentic. That was like his whole thing with like hippie culture and shit. Because he did collab with John Lennon.
Yeah,
was that in there?
Yeah. Did you read my? There's like the first line of my
Yeah, with Yoko.
Yoko's in it.
Yeah, because Frank released that material, and then Lennon released that material in sometime in New York City, and Frank says the names of the songs that they're performing, but Lennon didn't know. So like on Lennon's release, it's called like Jam Rag.
Oh,
Or some
okay.
shit
He
like
just-
that.
Oh my
Like,
god.
And like, but like Frank was like, no, these are like my songs
Oh wow.
that you're on, and he just called them like doo wop or jam rag or whatever.
Wow.
But there's the one that's just like, I love you, baby, please don't let me go, and then Yoko's like, ah.
I could.
It's-
None of that came through on the microphone.
Oh, okay.
so-
Well,
but that's
when you
okay.
listen to the audio, it'll be great. But it's Yoko just wailing.
Yeah, you get some of that. So. it's the same as it ever was. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. I mean, for you, I like it's a definite like hard recommend. Like I think anybody who's like a fan of Zappa would enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
And I think honestly, if you're not familiar with him, I would also recommend it if you're just
Be like a good primer.
curious. Yeah, I think it's a really good primer if you like aren't, if you're like, oh, I know this guy, like I've heard his name because he's like
I know Don't Eat the Yellow Snow and Valley Girl.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
But yeah,
He's kind of like Weird Al, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are we at? That was 20 minutes.
Yeah. It was,
Well, I guess we can touch on it a little bit. This can be a long one. We actually have to watch the third one today. So
I was gonna
as
ask.
soon,
I hadn't seen if you guys had watched that one yet. 'Cause I
as
saw
soon
you
as we're
guys-
done with this, we're gonna eat potato soup and watch the third one,
Nice.
which is 4.5 hours long.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, no, we over kind of like Christmas, New Year's. It was New Year's Day. We watched Fellowship of the Ring, and then like I think we had that Monday off, so we watched Two Towers that Monday. So yeah, we're watching the extended Lord of the Ring editions. They're on HBO Max, which is kind of cool because
Oh,
I
the
have
extended
like
ones are. That's cool.
yeah, because I think we just have like the DVD extended editions right now. But
Yeah.
so we've been watching those, and yeah, it's fun. They're really good.
Yep.
Like
I saw you gave Two Towers a 9.
yeah,
That one might be my favorite one. Though.
yeah, that's
They're
I
they're all easy 10s for me. It's
Yeah.
like unlike like I feel like usually like in memory I've been like thinking of like the original Star Wars trilogy. I give those all 10s, but that's with the caveat of like nostalgia and like they're not
Right.
like really 10s. But Lord of the Rings, I think like nostalgia or no, 10s like across
Yeah.
the board. In my opinion, they're
yeah.
impeccable. Like
Yeah, probably
just
gonna give
masterpieces.
Return of the King a 10. Probably gonna max out my stars on that one.
Yeah.
Because like I did watch the extended cuts in like a single day
Yeah.
in 2019. Like before COVID hit, we went to Casey's house for like 13 hours and watched them all. it was an exhausting day. I don't know if I can remember any of it just because it's like after a certain point your brain just kind of turns off because it's like we're going on hour 13 and I'm I'm sleepy.
That's what we're gonna try to do that this year because we watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy usually January, just like winter. So we kind of want to wait until it gets snowy again.
Yeah,
but I suggested we're gonna try because I've never done that in one day. But yeah, I want to give it a go. So either because our anniversary is next weekend. We're either gonna do that or we're gonna go like get dinner and go see Puss in Boots.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I wish I had more to say about the extended trilogy other than like they're good movies. I feel like eventually we're gonna do the trilogy for the show. So yeah,
maybe episode 100. I don't know.
we just do trilogies for like our anniversary episodes.
That's kind of, yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know how long we could, keep that going, but
I mean, I will say, like, it is insane how perfectly casted those movies are.
yeah.
Like, every role is just like it is because apparently Christopher Lee originally wanted to be Gandalf.
Uh-huh.
And it's like you're too evil looking.
Yeah.
Like you're too like, because I like literally he's like into death metal, but it's like you're too scary, and it's like Ian McKellen is like, it's just the perfect role. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like every single character, even what's his face as the Worm Tongue.
Oh, Brad Dourif.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I was
Chucky.
like, who is that? Yeah, but I remembered him from the
One from
there's
the
like an
Cuckoo's
X-Files
Nest?
episode.
Oh.
And Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
But he's just got one of those faces. I was like,
Yeah, he does.
like
Yeah.
I instantly recognizable.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, perfect, like just the level of effort and detail put into, like, just every facet of those movies is just, yeah, you could, yeah, each one of them deserves their own episode or more, really. Like, you could just talk about them endlessly. There's just so much good in those.
Yeah. I wish my only thing is I wish that there was like a little icon on the screen so I could see what's in the extended cut and what's not.
Yeah. I'm so
like,
bad at that.
Because like I saw those movies when they were in theaters. I mean, I was like 10 years old when like Fellowship came out. So like, I don't remember them a ton. I saw them all in theaters, but like,
What is this the first time you've seen them since then? Or no, you said you saw them.
No.
Yeah.
I saw them in theaters, and then I kind of saw them sporadically, and then we watched them a couple years ago, like all in one day. So I've seen them a few times since then. I remember seeing Return of the King in theaters like pretty distinctly, even though I think I was like 13 or 14 at the time for that one.
I would say so too. That's the only one that I really remember in theaters too.
But yeah, also like one of the few like I feel like high fantasy adventure movies to ever win Best Picture.
Mm-hmm. And a third movie in a series.
Yeah.
The Academy famously does not like sequels.
Right.
I think the only other one to win is like Godfather Part 2.
Yeah. I think even Godfather 3 was nominated, but
it was
didn't win
nominated. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's like they were like, well, we have to, right? We might as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as soon as we're done with this recording, we're gonna go watch the third one.
Nice. Yeah. I'm gonna just tell myself that we'll get to it eventually, because otherwise I know I just keep like, oh yeah, but also this. Did you know this?
Oh, speaking of Star Wars, there's a joke in Disaster Movie where they're like, "Oh, hey, aren't you that guy who ruined Star Wars?" Because they think he looks like Hayden Christensen. Did you look up his IMDb? He voices Anakin Skywalker in Clone Wars.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's.
He literally after this movie came out, he goes on to do a bunch of Star Wars shit as Anakin Skywalker.
The guy who like the main character in this?
Yeah, Will.
Wow. So like an unintended like prophetic joke. Like they accidentally made like a deep cut joke.
Yeah, hold on, where is it? Yeah, Star Wars The Clone Wars from 2008 to 2014, Anakin Skywalker.
Wow, that's that's funny. But something you also can't credit the writers with.
Oh, he's in The Mandalorian too.
Oh.
That's
funny. Yeah,
funny.
I know. Yeah, they've tons of like people from different Star Wars shit have cameoed in that show, so that doesn't surprise me that much.
Yeah, it's funny. Oh, he's also in the high fructose adventures of the annoying orange.
Awesome. Disaster movie is like in every way it's the antithesis of Lord of the Rings. It's like put the least amount of work into any aspect of your movie.
All right.
Got a movie.
Yeah.
A normal movie to pull from
Date movie.
cup. Yeah. Well, I don't think that I would put that in the category with this, but I knew like multiples were gonna come out when I did that, but I was thinking during this, I'm like okay, I really don't think, because we were kind of talking about it earlier last week. It's like I really don't think the early scary movies are quite this bad.
Yeah.
We weren't sure. I'm like, they're probably not great, but I really think I can confidently say that those are like marginally like better than this.
Yeah. At least better crafted.
Yeah.
With like actual jokes that aren't remember this.
Yeah. Okay. Next week, from 2004, directed by Martin Scorsese. Watching The Aviator. Be a good one to revisit.
Way of the Future.
Way of the Future, baby.
Hell yeah. I haven't seen that movie in a while.
Same. Yeah,
That'll be
a
a
good
fun one. I'm excited.
Yeah. much better than this week. Looks like it's on Netflix and for rent on Prime, and that's it. You can buy it on other stuff, but it's on Netflix, so
Nice.
Yeah, watch The Aviator before next week's episode if you don't want to be spoiled for it. These episodes come out every Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST on Twitch and YouTube in video form, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more in audio form. We also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And that's about it. I am not going to compare myself to a movie from this piece of shit. So I'm just TJ, aka J Spot Jack Cheese. And with me as always.
I am using my platform to put out a hit on Jason Friedberg and Aaron Stelzer for making me watch this movie.
All right.
For legal purposes, that is a joke. Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch. Don't watch this movie if you already did. Don't.
Wait, how about we go bye. That's NSYNC. That's NSYNC's here. Bye,
Oh,
audience.
They still have the marionette strings on. There they are.
Remember, that's from a music video. Okay, bye.